Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour, your source for all hard rock, heavy metal, new metal, alternative, punk, horror punk, hardcore, rock, and all local bands, with your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather.
This is Joel Grind of Toxic Holocaust. You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
The views and opinions of the guests do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Radio Network, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Radio Network.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather. And as always, bring you guys and gals awesome interviews. And yes, it's 2020, and it's hard to believe it's 2020 already. So, nevertheless, I want to welcome Mr. Joel Grind of Toxic Holocaust.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Not a problem. Glad to have you on here. Toxic Holocaust, ladies and gentlemen, has released their long-awaited sixth full-length album, Primal Future 2019, out now via Entertainment One, which is E1. Toxic Holocaust will kick off a massive North American tour supporting Soulfly in February. The Summoning Tour will commence February 3rd in Denver, Colorado, and make its way through nearly 36 cities upon its conclusion March 12th in Houston, Texas. Additional support will be provided by X Method, Madzilla, Skinflint, and System House 33. So, Joel, how's it going, man? And welcome to the show.
Hey, it's going good, man. Thanks for having me.
That's not a problem whatsoever. Glad to have you on here to talk about Toxic Holocaust, and you guys have been around for a while now. So, so how's it been working with Entertainment One E1 for this album for you guys?
It's been great, man. I mean, it's what I like about them is, they're very open to my suggestions for, what I want to do with the album, and they have really good distribution, and they're cool to work with. So, yeah, it's great.
Primal Future 2019 is Toxic Holocaust's sixth studio album, and the band has been around for over 20 years now. How does it feel to be able to still put out full-length albums, EPs, especially since so much has changed in the music world today for bands, man?
Honestly, it's a really cool feeling. I'm very thankful that I'm able to do this and able to do this for so long. Yeah, it's definitely has changed, since I started the band, the landscape with, selling and releasing albums and stuff. But I think it's cool that, they might not, records might not sell as much as they used to back in the day, but people still buy them. And, for me personally, I'm a record collector, so it's important for me to, have a physical copy as well as, digital's convenient, but it's nice to have the real thing too.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a CD guy. I like CDs. I'm slowly, gradually getting into records. I know people's
careful, man. It's dangerous.
Yeah,
dangerous for the wallet.
Oh God, yeah. I was gonna buy Guns N' Roses Use Your Illusion 1 and 2, and they were like $40, like 20 a piece. I was like, good God.
Yeah, I still need those, man. I'm a big fan of them, and yeah, I still need those, but they're expensive.
They are. They very are. But hey, to each is their own. If that's what everybody likes, hey, more power to you. Go for it. But they're making they're coming back now. The records are, which is surprising.
Yeah, it's great, man. Because honestly, I've always collected records, and I think it's cool that you can get so many. They're reissuing a lot of stuff that was never available on vinyl, like some of those like 90s, like late 80s, early 90s stuff that where CDs were popular, and then they just never did a vinyl version. So it's cool to see some of that stuff coming out on vinyl again.
There's a 6-year gap between Chemistry of Consequences and Primal Future 2019. Did you just need a break to recharge and just step away for a little bit, possibly?
Yeah, sort of. It was kind of it was kind of like a perfect storm in that time period. I was living in Los Angeles. I moved back to Portland. I started a studio in Portland, recording, mixing, and mastering bands and stuff. And when you start a new business, it's I think anybody who's done it will tell you that it's it's a massive undertaking. It's getting clients and building up all the stuff you need to do that. But fortunately, it was very successful. But on the downside of that, it kind of took away from me actually doing the Toxic stuff. But now that that's like an established business, I kind of, it's sort of like I can balance the two now. When you're first starting, you don't want to. It's either sink or swim, so you kind of want to make sure that you're putting the time in to develop those like that reputation and stuff like that. And now what's cool is like I have enough clients that I can basically pick and choose when I want to do that and when I want to do the Toxic stuff. So it's great, man. When I get tired of being at home for too long, I can hit the road, and then vice versa. It's good.
And this is a cool part, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later, is he can do everything in-house now, which I think is awesome because a lot of bands are doing that now. They're doing it DIY and not relying on producers and things. But that's cool. That teaches their own again. But
of course. Yeah, I think that's a great, technology has its downsides, of course, but also the upside is, it's much cheaper to make records now, and you can do them yourself, and it's cool. Like there's plenty of YouTube videos like teaching how to do stuff too. It's great.
Thank God for YouTube, because I never would have learned how to do my Twitch stream.
Yeah, I there's so many weird things like around the house. Like if something breaks, like go on YouTube and someone will tell you how to fix it. It's cool.
Yep, that's exactly right. What's impressed or excited you the most, Joel, about making the new album, if anything? Man, is there anything that pops out for you about it?
I think mainly is that I really had almost like a clarity of I guess from doing this long and kind of, having the experience of like making records now. And, I did the first 2 albums myself, and I recorded them like in a home studio. Those were just, it took a lot longer because I didn't really know what I was doing. I was flying by the seat of my pants. But, like 15, 20 years later from like those records, it's, I have all that experience, and I kind of just put it into making this new one. And, it was just a lot more fun. It was like very streamlined to do it. And, it was great. I had a great time doing it. I kind of want to continue doing records kind of like this because it kind of brought back that original spark that I had when I started the band.
Writing the new songs, did it push you to change the sound or maybe go back to your roots from the first demo in '99 that had covers from Venom and Nuclear Assault? Maybe did it give you that feel of like the old days, like, man, this is where I need to be? It
totally did, man. It was partially nostalgic and also kind of like fun because it was just, you kind of have that pressure put on yourself when you're doing it yourself that, like if anything fails, it's your fault, so you have to make sure that you're doing everything that you need it to do, like you got to make sure that this part is good and this part is good, or, that's on you.
So has the new album breathed, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but I mean this in a good way, because I mean your music is good, but has this breathed new life back into Toxic Holocaust maybe?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. I mean, I think I don't want it to make it sound like I was kind of like burnt out from it or anything, but just doing something for this long, it ebbs and flows a little bit. Like you kind of have different feelings over the course of years. And, it's like, I just needed a break. I think, I think people what don't understand about it is I've been doing this band since I've been 17 years old. I'm 38 now. So it's like, it's kind of it was throughout my entire formative years of my life, basically. So I kind of needed to, just step back a little bit. And that being said, I was still touring with Toxic in that 6-year time period. I was still active with the band. I was still writing music. I just wasn't really releasing music. I kind of just needed to, figure out how I wanted to do the next record, which direction I wanted to go in, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, everybody goes through their peaks and valleys, as I call it. You're going to have the roller coaster ride. So, yeah. And it happens. It happens to everybody, even Metallica. I mean, look at those folks.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was, what was that? I think it was like 5 years between Black Album and Load.
Yeah. And what's crazy is the Black Album, I think, is still on the charts today. Still today.
Yeah. I heard that it sells 5,000 records a week still.
That's probably true.
And that still charts. It charts every week. That's amazing.
That just blows my mind. It's like, how? How?
Yeah. But the only thing I can think of is like new kids, like, that just, obviously those songs are huge. So I must be just like kids that have, hitting that age of getting into music like that and then going out and buy the record. It's kind of cool.
How long did it take to write and complete the new album for Toxic Holocaust?
Oh, man. Honestly, the writing process took a while. Like I was writing pretty consistently in between that 6-year period. But, I mean, I have so much material that's unreleased now. But what I did with this one is I picked a lot of the songs that I think flowed together well. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of hard to really answer that, how long it took to write, but the recording didn't really take that long. It probably took the span of like a month or two, but that wasn't consistent. I was basically doing a lot of my own, the studio stuff for other bands and things like that. And then, on the weekends or something, I would like put in some hours to record the record and stuff like that. So it's kind of a weird way to do it, but in a weird way, it kind of was good because it gave me time to step away from it and get perspective on the stuff I just recorded, so I can kind of get fresh ears every time I would listen to it, and that was kind of nice.
So what about the unreleased stuff? Now, is this eventually going to be put out, or what do you want to do with it?
I have to go through it. It's one of those things where, a lot of the material I think was, there might be, 50% of the riffs in this one song were good, and the rest was like kind of not that great. It wasn't, what I would probably release. But those kind of tracks are good for, sparking new ideas. Like, oh yeah, if I change this part, this song would be cool or whatever. And then I also have some songs that I think are pretty much there, So who knows, man? I mean, I there's definitely some of the stuff that I've written will probably make it to the next record, and then who knows about the other stuff? It probably needs a little bit more work, but that's what's nice to have options. Just I would recommend that to any band. Just overwrite music as opposed to underwrite. Like when you make a record, don't write either just up to the point of making an album. Like write a couple extra songs, because you never know. Those ones might be the best ones. You kind of get into a flow with writing a record, and all of a sudden you start coming out with your better material later on in the album cycle.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And it's always good to have those songs in your back pocket to go back and say, hey, look, we can use this riff in this next song for the new album. And
absolutely.
I mean, it can make.
Or if you want to do like a 7-inch or an EP or whatever later on, you have that material.
I know it must change every time you listen to the album and the tracks, but are there any tracks standing out more to you than any right now on the new album? Possibly. I know these are your babies, but can you pick some maybe? Yeah,
it's tough because I'm weird because of the fact that I don't listen to stuff after I record it. Like the only time I ever listen to anything that I do after I record it is to relearn the tracks if we're gonna go play them live. So that's usually the only time I listen to it. But the songs that I'm most excited about for playing live are going to be the title track Primal Future and New World Beyond and Chemical Warlords. Probably I'm excited to play those. And the song Blackout the Code's been getting a lot of love too. I might incorporate that in the set as well. So yeah, it's basically after I got finished the record, I was proud of what I did at the time. I think with anybody that's like a musician or whatever, you're always kind of progressing and, changing and stuff. So there might be, if I listen to it now, things I would want to change, so it's like, I don't really listen to it because I don't want to think, oh, I should have did this. I'd rather just, I did it and now it's time to move on and do something else.
So what's it mean to you when you hear that Toxic Holocaust is grouped as a crossover band with bands such as Suicidal Tendencies and other bands like that? Does it kind of bother you, or you just don't want to fit into one certain genre of music, or does it matter?
I think that the genre thing is kind of more for other people to decide on. Like for me, I kind of just do, I follow my own compass and kind of do what I like, but I could see the crossover tag, we've been called thrash, metal punk and, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I mean, I could totally see that. There's definitely punk influences in Toxic stuff and, obviously thrash metal, and I've been called pretty much everything. I think that's just a testament to the fact that, I'm a huge music fan and I think all of my influences come out, but I think that's kind of in some weird way when you put a lot of different things into a blender. That's how you kind of create your own sound, is by, you don't try to mimic just one thing. You take influence from a lot of different places and you put it in through your own filter and you make your own stuff. And I think that's what at least that's what I've tried to do,
That's the way every band should do, and be confident in what you put out there. I mean, if you can't stand behind your stuff, then how can we as fans do it?
Right. And I think fans can, they can see through the bullshit when it comes to stuff like that. If it's phony or whatever. And, I stand behind the stuff I do, and it comes from the heart, man. It's this is the stuff that I like to play, and this is the stuff that I write, and this is my influences put out onto out onto a record, and
Definitely.
filtered into one cohesive thing. So it's totally genuine,
Was it hard to choose between these current set of songs? Which one would be the first single you wanted to release for the album?
Yeah, actually, it was going to either be between New World Beyond or Chemical Warlords, but I felt like Chemical Warlords would be a good one as the first kind of teaser single type thing, because it's more familiar, I think, to fans of, Toxic from the past. It's nothing is too different in that, where people would be like, whoa, what that 6 years really did a lot to the band, it wasn't anything like that. And I felt like New World Beyond is a little bit different. The tempo is slower. It's a little bit more like riffy, kind of chuggy kind of stuff. So I didn't want people to think it was that much of a change from, the previous stuff when they heard something for the first time in 6 years,
What do you hope everyone takes away, or message you hope they hear while listening to any of Toxic Holocaust music in general, Joel? What do you hope they get from it, man?
I hope people just, get enjoyment through it. I get messages all the time that, the stuff that I do helps them out in their, their struggles in life, and it's a good escape for them. And, that means the world to me, man. I mean, that's why music is so awesome. It's, and that's why I do this stuff too. It's great for me. It's like a cathartic experience, to do this kind of stuff when it's nice to just be able to, go into the studio, record something and, scream your guts out on a microphone if you're pissed off or whatever, it's great, and if people can get that from it, that's amazing.
I mean, when you were 16 and 17 years old, man, and you look back at today and you get those emails, does that kind of like bring it back to the forefront for you, the reason why you started doing this?
Yeah, it really does, man. All this stuff that's happened with the band, it's something that I could have never imagined when I started, it's just, it's taken, basically I've been doing Toxic longer than I've not been doing Toxic in my life. I've been doing it over half my life, and, it's a big part of my life. And it's cool that when I see stuff like that people, give me that feedback back, that it's meaningful to them too, that it's a great feeling to feel like, 20 years of this stuff really kind of paid off in a way, and it's helping other people and giving people enjoyment. It's awesome.
Now, you decided to go back to your roots and record this album by yourself, the entire album, and record all the instruments and things like that. Do you like having the freedom to do this on your own time rather than having someone else to help produce the album?
I do, man. One of the big reasons why I started getting into recording and, producing and mixing and stuff like that is because every time I would go record with someone else, they never really understood what I was trying to do. Or if I wanted to do some off the cuff stuff that, maybe isn't the quote unquote correct way to do something, it would always be some sort of argument or a fight. But, so I always felt like I felt more comfortable kind of if I would learn how to do this myself, because then I have the freedom to experiment and try things. And, they don't always work, but, sometimes you get some cool results. And sometimes, engineers, like recording engineers, they're more, they're creative too, but they have that technical brain where sometimes people say this is the right way to do it or the wrong way to do it. And in my opinion, when it comes to stuff like this, there is no right or wrong way. It's expression, So I think it's cool to be able to just have the freedom to do this stuff.
Who did the artwork for the album?
There's a guy named Steve Crisp. He's a artist from the UK. He's done stuff like he did the cover art for and the poster for the movie 80s movie Creepazoids, and did some other band stuff back in the day. But yeah, I was just a really big fan of his art, and he was great to work with.
So in your own opinion, what does Toxic Holocaust bring to the table for music that's not out there as of right now still? What are you guys adding to that wheel, possibly?
I would say the fusion between punk and metal, honestly, at least in the way that we do it. I think there's a lot of bands that, we align with, genre-wise, but I think our difference is the way that everything is kind of fused together. It's just done in a different way. It's it's personally, I try to emphasize more about like the choruses and things like that, like the memorable parts of the songs. You know, that's what I try to achieve with the stuff that I do.
So what can fans expect at a show from the mighty Toxic Holocaust who have not got to see you guys live as of yet? What are they going to get?
What I'm trying to do on this upcoming tour with Soulfly is I wanted to do a few new songs, but also pretty heavy on the older stuff, the classics, just because, you know, when a band releases a new record, personally, I like when they throw a couple new songs in, but when you get bombarded with the whole new record, you know, it's kind of like it can be a bum out sometimes because of the fact that even if you really like their new record, you know, you go see a band, you want, especially one that's been around for a while, you want to see, you know, a combination of, you know, some classic material too. And I've always taken that to heart after seeing a few bands that have played only new stuff. And, you know, to me, that's I mean, they have every right to do it, but me personally as a fan, I know I would like to see some of the stuff that I'm familiar with as well as some new stuff. So that's mainly, I think, what people can expect. Going to have a varying amount of different material from new to old.
So what about the set list? Is it hard to create a set list right now for you guys or no?
Yeah, it is, man. It's a combination of having a lot of songs and not a ton of time to play, and also our guitar player lives in Salt Lake City, so he's, you know, a little bit. It's hard to practice new material, like so. It's hard to like incorporate. You know, if we're gonna do a new song, it's kind of like we got a plan to do it. You know, it's not like something like, oh, we can just do this today or whatever. No, it's like we got to pre-plan all that stuff, but that makes it a little bit more difficult.
So what made you want to become a musician, Joel? What was that spark for you, if you could possibly recall, or maybe what was it that got you into it?
Honestly, I think it's, you know, growing up, my mom was a pretty big music fan, and I would listen to like some of her records and things like that, and just getting into the more harder rock stuff, you know, that was, I think, the foundation. But then when I started getting older and, you know, I went to go see, speaking of Guns N' Roses, I went to see Metallica and Guns N' Roses in 92. And seeing a concert like that was just like, I was 11 at the time, you know, seeing a concert like that is like mind blowing to me. And that was definitely a moment where I was like, I want to do something like that. You know, that was very impactful to me. And also, just getting more into, from graduating from more like Metallica and Megadeth to more of the underground stuff, I realized, you know, this is something that I could do as well. You know, it's not just for, because, you know, when you see bands like Metallica and stuff, it's like so unobtainable, that level. It's like, you know, it's, of course you want to do it, but it's like, how do you do it? But when you start to learn about some more of the more underground bands, you know, it's like, oh yeah, I guess I could do this, you know, and that was like, I think the three things that kind of made me want to start the band. Start playing music.
Is there a country that stands out or shocks you that Toxic Holocaust gets support from, or your music even gets played in those areas possibly? Has there been a couple that's kind of threw you for a loop?
Honestly, it's like, it's amazing because we've played all over the world now. And, you know, I'm always blown away. Like we'll go to Thailand or we'll go to Indonesia or go to Singapore, and like people have Toxic shirts. People know all the songs, you know, it's like, that blows me away every time, man. Cause honestly, like a lot of the places that we play, like Europe and stuff, I have a lot of communications with them, you know, through, you know, Instagram or emails and stuff. Like people, you know, write me and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But I don't have much communication with Asia. So it's like when we go over there and it like I see all these fans, and like it blows me away. You know, it's amazing that it's universal. It's like worldwide. And it's incredible. It's amazing to be able to go see all these places. Especially
to sing the lyrics in American, but they can't speak American. That's crazy.
It is, yeah.
Is there a band on the bucket list possibly that you would like to work, tour with, or maybe do an old school album split with, maybe?
Wow. I think a tour with us and Power Trip would be really cool. For old school bands, man, so many, really. I mean, I know Slayer called it quits, but that was on my bucket list for a long time. It was like I wanted to do a tour with them. And that
would be sick.
You know, sadly that doesn't look like that's going to happen, but that was definitely one of those bucket list items that we did play with them at Hellfest, which was really cool. But, you know, it's not really the same thing. It's cool. It would be cool to do a tour, but that I mean, that's the one for me. That would have been my one.
That'd have been awesome. That'd have been a sick tour, Slayer and Toxic Holocaust. Folks, you want to get out and pick up Toxic Holocaust new album, 6th full-length album, Primal Future. It's out right now on Entertainment One, which is E1. You want to get out and pick this album up. Joel, how can folks stay in touch with you guys, buy some merchandise this album? How can they do that? And the new tour that's getting ready to kick off next month, how can they do that?
I mean, honestly, if like staying in touch with us, getting new information and stuff, I think I'm more active on Instagram, the Toxic Holocaust official Instagram, or my personal one, Joel Grind. I think I'm more active on them. It's kind of less annoying than Facebook. So, but I mean, I try to keep all the updates on Facebook as well. But just the usual suspects for social media stuff. I guess that's probably the best way. And then, I sell our own merch on the tours. So if you want to have a chat or a beer, I'll be at the merch table.
Before I let you go, would you care to do a promo for the show?
Yeah, no problem. This is Joel Grind of Toxic Holocaust. You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great stuff coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and BODS Mayhem Radio Network. Please check out our Facebook page. It has our podcast link. Also, it has our YouTube page. Also, we are on iTunes now. We are on Spotify and hopefully soon iHeartRadio. So we are all over the place. Now we're on Twitch TV. So get out and check that out. Also pick up Toxic Holocaust new album, Primal Future. You will not be disappointed, and give these guys a chance. They have some kick-ass music. So, Joe, I wish you guys nothing but the best of luck, and have a good tour, man.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate the support.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.